All right, I'm going to go ahead and call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It's August 19th, 2020, and we'll begin with our commissioner statement read by Commissioner Githens.
Thank you. We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSE.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Githens. I appreciate it. Now we will move on to departmental updates. We will begin with Ms. Caudill in the Health Department. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Most of what I have today is kind of a general nature, but I will try to get through it quickly. We do continue to do routine work along with handling COVID issues and tasks. As you can imagine, I'm sure most people know that our volume of calls is up drastically. And so our response time can be a little slower than we would normally like. Much of our staff has moved into the showers building, and our space, while very nice, tends to be very loud. And so it can be hard to even hear the phone ring or talk to somebody on the phone. So there are times, and some of our field staff will have their phones go to voicemail, and then they'll arrange to call them back when they can hear and find a space that they can talk to somebody and hear them better. Staff have gotten earbuds and those kinds of things. So we've tried to do some additional things to make that better for people. We know it's frustrating when you call and you get voicemail, but also remember that the vast majority of our staff are field staff, so they are not in the office every day either. And so leaving a message is the best way to get a hold of them, because then they can call you back. We are making appointments for anything that we can't process online or by mail, but we have to say that that process of doing things online and by mail seems to be working very well, but it also does increase our volume of phone calls as well. So we do have a phone tree. Our staff direct lines are on the web page. So I would encourage people, if you know that you need somebody in a particular department or a particular person, to go on the county's web page, go on our page, and just call them directly and leave them a message if they're unable to take your call. Our vital records staff, they handle all of our birth and death and everything related to that, but they are also really our front line. We don't have just a receptionist, and so they are front line trying to answer just some of the routine calls as well. And the state is changing their data system and their processing for birth and death records. So staff are also trying to learn this new system in the midst of all of this. So I say all of this just to say thank you for your patience. Bear with us as we get through all of these different things. Please leave a message if you call. I know call trees can be frustrating, but leave a message. We'll get it to the right person. Listen to the message or call someone directly, and we will get back to you. So if you call and somebody can't answer the phone right at that moment, please leave a message or call them directly. In terms of complaints and exemptions, those are coming in and they're being processed, and we're working through our system with that. Last week, we had about 38 complaints. All but one included face coverings. 9 of them included distancing, and 4 were about capacity limits. So our initial process is for the new staff that we've hired. They are calling, following up. Sometimes we might have a picture or some sort of documentation to prove that was happening. Sometimes it's a matter of calling and trying to confirm what might have happened, making sure that the business understands what the regulations are and what the rules are, and we can try to help them figure out how to be compliant so that they're not getting complaints. But there are some some places that we've had multiple complaints on. And when we go through, the next step is really for our field staff to be assigned to go out and do a site visit and talk to them again and confirm what's happening. And then at that point, hopefully we can resolve everything. Again, we just want voluntary compliance, but if we can't, we do have the ability to issue a fine or ultimately close a facility if they're not going to comply. We don't want to get to that point. We just want to be able to educate and have voluntary compliance. So the staff are working really hard on that. The new staff are going and handling those complaints and doing their training, and we're very grateful for you for allowing us to add those staff. Navigating change is constant for us. And, I said the other day, we talk a lot about continuous learning. It has just been continuous change this year for us, and staff are always, we really have always worked beyond capacity, and this year we're working well beyond that. So it is pretty stressful around here, as it is in many places, but kudos to the staff for going above and beyond and doing what they need. But we are navigating all those constant changes, school guidance, sports, events versus gatherings, every day and every week, terms change, directions change. And so we are doing our best to stay up on that. I have had some questions about masks and how long the regulations and the health order around masks will be in place. So the first thing that I want to say about that is masks and distancing are going to be a part of our new normal until we at least have a vaccine and or we have the community spread and we have this virus, I'm going to say, under control, and that's probably not the best way to say it, but until we have suppressed the virus enough, those two things are going to be needed by us. Now, whether they're regulation or not may be different. We continue to monitor the data and what's going on, and we'll continue to watch the changes that are happening in our community, in our state, and surrounding communities and across the nation, and take all of that into account as we evaluate at what time it might make sense for us locally to change that order in some way. And it could be that it just looks a little different. It could be that they're not required at all. But for the time being, that is in place until we see evidence that we can remove it. The state order is in effect until later this month, and we'll see what happens. I think it's the 26th, if my memory's serving me right on that. And we'll see next week or so if that stays or not. So there is evidence that they're working. And so with that, we'll say that we want to keep them in place, to keep them working and get a handle on this so that we can get into the fall when we see other things like influenza tend to pick up. And we want to encourage people to get their flu vaccine as that becomes available. We are working on possible flu clinics, additional flu clinics than what we normally have, maybe some drive-throughs or something like that. So we're having discussions about that now and how we can add that into the mix of everything else that we are doing. But please consider getting your flu vaccine this year so that we can not only keep influenza illness down, but we can keep our hospitalizations down and keep people out of the hospital. I am hopeful that if everyone is doing hand washing and cleaning and we're distancing and we're wearing our face coverings, that we'll have less spread of influenza and other viruses that we might see in the fall as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cottle. We appreciate you and your staff, and really all of Monroe County government's just pulled together so brilliantly throughout this whole pandemic. But your department, on top of having to have a renovation, plus all of the additional changes, it's amazing. And now a new system for birth and death records. So what else, right?
Bring it on.
Yeah, right. Don't ask what else. Comments or questions from Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Githens?
No, but just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, please pass our kudos on to your staff. We really appreciate you more than we could say. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And next we will turn to Ms. Allison Moore with the Emergency Management Department.
Good morning. I think that's an amazing statement that Ms. Cottle did with all those amazing things she's doing, but that continuous change that she talked about, and our residents, of course, not just the health department, but just society in general has had to deal with this major change. And so I'm so glad that we're all adapting it and just continuing to move forward with our lives with this new norm. And it has been very crazy, hasn't it? We do have face coverings still available for residents if they are in need of an additional or any type of face covering so that they could be out in the public. We have those by appointment only to be scheduled for pickup, and we have those spots on our website. We do still have people coming, even we've been doing this for a few weeks now, and we still do have residents that have now had to get out for the first time and such and have realized that they need those face coverings. And so we will continue to provide those. And you can find all those spots on our county website at co.monroe.in.us. We also hand those out on the north door of the commissioner's office on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 9 to 4. And we will continue to supply all of those different departments that are so gracious in helping us get those out to the public as they need them. So we will continue to do that. We are looking ahead just at flu vaccines and the different supplies that our health departments and such might need. If they might need additional things like syringes and gloves and various other things. So we've been really driven and really focused on COVID supplies and making sure that this fall and then even into winter that we have enough supplies for all of the people. And now we're kind of shuffling now that we feel really confident in what we have in that PPE. And now we're starting to prepare and making sure that we have some of those other things. Just because it's going to be really critical that people get their daily, their normal flu shots and various other things as well. So we're just making sure that that they have all those things as well. So just a different little avenue that we're starting to think of that we might have more than normal and a bigger need. So that's one of the things that our office has been looking into this week to see what we can do to supplement and try to help and make sure we have those supplies on hand. We also have blood drives scheduled. We have another blood drive scheduled August 24th at the Monroe County Convention Center. It's through the Red Cross. You do make an appointment for that donation, and you do that by going to the redcross.org website. There are still spots available. So I encourage you, if you can make a donation, to go to that website and get an appointment. And then we have a monthly drive scheduled for the rest of the calendar year. They are not ready or on the Red Cross website yet. They will be very soon, and they'll pop up sort of by month. So September's will come and then October's. But I'd like to go ahead and announce those dates so you can jot it down, keep that date open if it works for you. And then as we get closer and it gets on their website, you could then potentially go and make those appointments if that's something that you can and are willing to do. Those dates are, of course, this one in August, and then September 29th, October 14th, November 9th, and December 21st. And we, like I said, encourage with COVID, we had a huge shortage of blood. Blood only, it expires every 42 days. And so they continue to have that shortage. And we encourage anyone that can to go make that donation to help our local hospitals and our community. And at this time, that's all I have. See if you have any questions for us.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Moore. We appreciate all of your hard work as well. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, we do appreciate it.
Commissioner Giffens?
Thank you. Yeah, also, I'm going to be at the blood drive next week, donating for a second time as part of what the county's been doing. Really, really proud to do that. And so thanks for setting those up and for being that person that makes it all happen.
Sure.
Absolutely. Great work. Thank you. All right. Next up is Carolyn Vanderweel from the Monroe County Election Board.
Okay, can you hear me?
We sure can.
All right, I don't know how detailed you want me to get because I could probably talk for 2 weeks about what's going on, but I was asked to just help clear up a few things about what's going on with elections. Um, so let's start with some terminology. There's some confusion about what constitutes absentee voting. And basically anybody who votes early before election day, absentee votes, whether that's absentee in person, which we commonly know as early voting, which will start this year on Tuesday, October 6th, and run through Monday, November 2nd, rather, the day before election day. Whether that's absentee by mail, absentee by travel board, or if you are a military or overseas voter, all those people do vote absentee, or essentially just early. I will let everybody know that voter registration will end on Monday, October 5th at 11:59 p.m. You can register to vote if you are not registered to vote online at the indianavoters.com website, or you can do it by downloading a form and take it on into our Election Central. You will need a driver's license or a state ID card to do it online. And I will say that the most common reason for having your provisional ballot thrown out is that you are not registered in Monroe County. If you want to vote in this county, you must be registered in this county, not elsewhere in the state. So that's kind of the important thing. And again, you can register anytime between now and October 5th, but you probably ought to do it sooner than later. Absentee by mail. This is the most confusing thing, I think, for voters at the moment. In the primary, you were allowed to vote absentee by mail without an excuse. That is not true in the general election. And there are 11 reasons why you can vote for absentee by mail. I'm not going to read them all because they are out there, and I'll let people know some resources that they can look those up. But you must have a valid excuse to vote by mail in the general election for 2020. I will point out also that if you sign the affidavit and choose a reason to vote by mail, you are signing a legal document saying that this is a valid excuse. So I've seen people just say, choose one, tell everybody you're a sex offender and vote by mail. You really shouldn't be doing that. There's also some confusion as to wording. So the most common reason, of course, that people vote by mail is that they're over 65. But one of them is that you will be confined because of illness or disability to your residence. There is a question of whether or not fear of being sick is equivalent to being sick. And there is some confusion about that. Unfortunately, our elected officials have not defined that, and the county election board is it's well above our pay grade to do so. The governor says that he wants the courts to decide. The election commission says they want the legislature to decide. I will say that the only two states where I've seen this dealt with, in New Hampshire, they actually had similar wording to ours, and they changed that to include fear of being sick. In Tennessee, the courts actually said that they're not equivalent statements. So being sick and being afraid of getting sick are not the same. What they're going to do in Indiana, I don't know. There are currently 3 suits working their way through the courts. And so we're talking about waiting for those, but that might not be until September, October. Unfortunately, that also puts us in a quandary because this will be very short time to deal with whatever they come up with. So for the moment, you need to have a valid excuse to vote by mail. That may change, but plan on it. And what we are suggesting to people is if you do qualify for one of those, that you get that application in sooner than later. You can do it online at indianavoters.com, or you can do it physically by downloading a form and taking it on into Election Central to get it done. But the sooner those get in, the sooner we can process them. For those who have questioned, the initial round of absentee ballots. So anybody who's applied so far and in the near future, those ballots will be going out mid-September. September 19th is the date that we have to get those out. And then, of course, as they come in between now and the deadline, which is October 22nd at midnight online or physically in the office by 4 o'clock, whether by mail or by hand. So you can do those. But sooner than later, again, a problem that we had in the primary was that probably 3/4 of the applications came in the last 4 or 5 days. We had to hire extra people to get those out. We did do it as well as we could, but we also had a lot of applications that came in after the deadline and had to be thrown out. Ballots, once you get your ballot, if you are voting by mail, need to be in the office by noon on election day. Again, if the post office has been slowing down, which we all know it has, you can't guarantee that that's going to happen. If you mail them on election day, your ballot will not count. If you mail them probably a couple days before election day, it's likely it won't get there on time. You can hand deliver your ballot to the election office during business hours. And the people who are legally entitled to do so are the voter themselves, a family member, a bonded courier, or your mailman, which is who is a bonded courier, or your attorney in fact. And for people who are confused about what an attorney in fact is, somebody who has your power of attorney. And you can download a simple attorney in fact form from the web, from the internet, and sign that and have somebody deliver your ballot for you. They will need to sign an affidavit when they drop it off at the election office. Anybody other than your mailman and yourself. So you can deliver those to Election Central during business hours, which is 8 to 4 regularly. And then of course, we'll be open a little bit later during early voting. But the sooner you get those ballots in, again, the better off you are in terms of dealing with that. I think those are the major things you want to know. A couple of very useful sites. So indianavoters.com is the state site. You can register to vote there. You can file an application to vote by mail there. Tons of information about where you vote, who's on your ballot once that's fixed. All of that is on that site if you go to your personal voter portal. The other site that's very useful and has a lot of this information on it, as well as all the deadlines, is our local county website, which is http, etc., monroecountyvoters.us. You can check the homepage, and also the voter portal page has a lot of information, all the deadlines, and as well as links to register to vote and so forth.
Awesome.
Anything else you want to know?
Thank you so much. Let's see if we have questions. We'll start with Commissioner Jones.
Not a question. I just thought I would mention that Election Central is on the southwest corner of 7th and Madison for people who are trying to find it.
Yeah, look for the Johnson Creamery smokestack. It's across the street from there, so that's very easy to find.
Right, good point. Commissioner Githens.
Just want to reiterate the fact that people can also check their registration status at the indianavoters.com, right? You were talking about people weren't registered in Monroe County. They can actually go to that and verify whether or not they're registered here.
Yeah, it'll tell you your precinct. It'll tell you where that is. It'll give you directions on how to get to it. And once the ballot is set, it'll also tell you who's on your ballot. So lots of information at that site.
Great point. And the Election Central office will not be open after hours to receive ballots or requests for a ballot, correct?
This is correct. You'll have to come in during business hours, because if you're not the voter themselves, you'll need to sign an affidavit saying that you're qualified to deliver your ballot. So we will have to do it during business hours.
Right. And our state does not provide tracking information. So if you, as some other states do, when you mail a ballot back, for those who are absentee by mail voters. And so if you are concerned about making sure that your ballot does arrive, that's if you can get down to Election Central, that is the best bet by far. Yeah. Excellent.
And I think
go ahead, Hudson.
if they mail it early enough that that's not going to be an issue. But if you're within a few days of Election Day, you probably don't want to count on that mail being able to get it to you on time.
Right. Commissioner Githens, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot this earlier. For in the spring for the primary, there was a shortened window to do early in-person voting. For sure, is it going to be the full 4 weeks
It
for
will
early
start
voting in person?
on Tuesday, October 6th at 8 a.m. and it will end at noon on November 2nd. So yes, we'll have the normal timings. And again, those are on our Monroe County voters website homepage. Has the hours that people will be able to vote early. And that's it at the Election Central. On Election Day, people will be voting at their regular precincts.
Right. And that was the other thing I was going to say is that we're planning to have the full contingent of in-person voting on Election Day as well on November 3rd.
The governor has stated that they want a normal election, so the full 34 precincts will be open. I think with perhaps the exception of Meadowood, which is asked not to be open, and that's going to be moved to, I believe, probably Genesis Church, which is down the street. We can understand why Meadowood would not want to have people coming in. We are doing everything that we can to help keep voters safe. Our staff will be wearing face masks or shields or both. We've got lots of disinfection stuff. So all the precautions that we took in the spring, as well as anything we've come up with since then, will be put into effect to try to keep voters as safe as possible. We do ask that voters wear masks and also that they practice proper social distancing while they're voting.
Excellent. And I had somebody ask a question that I thought was a really good one. With the schools at the present time, K through 12, some of them just being distance learning only or online learning only, is the exigencies of at-home childcare enough of an excuse to vote by mail?
It is not one of the things on the list.
Right. Okay, good deal. Excellent. Well, we are so grateful for all of the information, and we really appreciate that you took the time out to be here with us today. And hopefully, if anyone has additional questions, they will reach out to the election board and the election central, I should say, with those questions and to get them answered. But check the website first, because everything is there. There is a lot of information there, both on the state site and then the local Monroe County Voters.us site as well. So there's really a lot of information already available. Probably will answer your question for you to avoid having to make a phone call. So,
and we'll keep everybody up to date as we learn new stuff. So as those work their way through, we may have some changes.
Excellent. Yes, if anything does change, please just let us know. Come on back to department updates and keep us informed. We so appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. And now we will move on to Lisa Ridge, Public Works Director. I see her there, but she's still muted. There you are. Good morning. Do you have a road update for us?
Good morning. Sorry. Actually, we're getting Red Hill Road ready to pave. In the next couple of weeks, we're replacing some pipes right now to improve the drainage. And we are grading roads, mowing, pothole patching, and tree trimming at this time at various locations.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you so much. Questions from Commissioner Jones?
Not right now.
Commissioner Githens?
No, thank you.
And we will be talking with you again very soon. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ridge.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else here to offer a departmental update?
Doesn't look like we have any hands raised.
Right. Thank you so much, Ms. Dayton. With that, we will move on next to public comment. Public comment is for items that are not on our agenda, and it is limited to 3 minutes per person. And when you are at the 2-minute 30-second mark, you will hear a audio tone, if you would, Ms. Dayton. Right, when you hear that tone, you have 30 seconds left to speak. So with that, we will open the floor for public comment for items not on our agenda.
First up is Jana Arthur.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Arthur.
Good morning. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. I know that you guys are sort of over the county council, and I've heard that the city council only has $800 per member per year for training. I hope that you guys will vote to allow the county councilors to take the Black Lives Matter anti-racist training. It's a policy training and it's specific to our community. And also, I was a little misled the other day when I was listening to one of these Zoom meetings, and it was about y'all getting a raise. And from the meeting that I listened to, I was led to believe that you guys were already full-time. But I don't think a $25,000 per person raise for a part-time job is a good move, given all of the things that are going on in the community. Yeah, and it's just like any job that I've ever held when I was able to work. I was given a certain amount of hours, and the effort that I put into them was the same, regardless of how much I was paid. So I just sort of thought that that was kind of funny. And I also wanted to publicly comment that I hadn't even remembered that the commissioners were the people that showed up wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts while you were evicting the protests from the courthouse lawn. And someone had reminded me of that. So yeah, I just thought that that was pretty shady politics. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Arthur. Is there anyone else who would like to offer public comment?
Doesn't look like we have any hands.
Great, thank you so much. All right, and with that, we will move on to the next agenda item.
Move approval of the minutes for August 12th, 2020.
Second?
We have a motion and we have a second. Any comments, corrections, edits?
No.
Right, thank you so much. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the approval of the minutes for August 12th, 2020?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Minutes are approved 3-0.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable, August 19th, 2020.
Second?
We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Miller. Oh, you're muted.
Huh. Sorry about that. I usually just push the space bar and it works like a charm, but my apologies. But good morning. The total for claims was $768,477.69. $239,134.08 was for the parking garage loan payment. $82,309.69 was for E&B paving. And finally, $46,958.80 was for Fox Construction Company, which was for the final payment for the Monroe County Highway Garage building project.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Miller. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, Mr. Miller answered the one question I had about what that big lump sum was for. So thank you.
You're
Excellent.
welcome.
Great. Thank you so much. Is there any public comment on the claims docket?
No hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the approval of claims docket accounts payable August 19th, 2020?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Minutes are approved, claims are approved 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. Appreciate you. I will note that we have received a report from the treasurer, and it is the monthly report dated July 20th, dated for July 2020. And we'll now move on to new business, please.
Move to approve Zeus Auction SRI agreement, fund name 1000, fund number 100, amount not to exceed 5,000.
I believe the fund number is 1,000.
I'm not, that's what it says on the.
County General.
Okay.
There we go.
Second.
Excellent. We've got a motion and we have a second, and we have our treasurer, Jessica McClellan, here today to tell us about this.
Good morning, commissioners. It's that time of year where the legal department and the auditor and I start to plan for the year's tax sale. The first concern we had this year was how to keep our employees healthy. And so this contract to put the parcels that are going to be offered for sale online is solely to keep our employees healthy. Tax sale day is a very busy day. Last year we had 63 bidders to sell 184 parcels, and the sale went past 12 o'clock. I think it was close to 1 o'clock by the time it ended in person. And we just think that's a really long time to have that many people in the courthouse and interacting with 2 different offices. So this contract will just put those parcels online for the sale. Some bidders may already be familiar with this platform. They use it in several other counties that have really, really big sales, like Lake County and St. Joe County, where South Bend is. I think it's a great service to provide the bidders. They don't have to come interact with us. And we're still able to take really good care of our taxpayers and offer them payment agreements if they need that, and be able to take their payments, put their needs first and take their payments by appointment, rather than having to shuffle them around with bidders in the building at the same time. So tax sale is kind of complicated. I'm perfectly happy to go over more aspects of it if you have any other questions. That's all of my presentation.
Right. Thank you, Ms. McClellan. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just that this was a very good idea. I'm glad you're making this plan.
Commissioner Githens?
Well, first of all, it seems really cost effective too with that. I mean, $20 per parcel. But also, I just had a question. One of the statements in there said that if the tax property sale owners, they still have a year to pay their taxes. If something that's sold at the tax sale, if the proper taxes are paid, what happens to the person that thinks that they're buying the property at the tax sale?
Yeah, that's a great question. Bidders at the tax sale, they pay the minimum bid, and then there is usually an overbid. They're bidding as high as they are willing to go to get that property. If the original owner redeems their property and pays all of their taxes, the auditor's office gives that money is kept in escrow by the county, and it is returned to the bidder plus interest. When the property is redeemed by the original owner, they're also paying that interest. So that's part of, we really don't want people to let their property go to tax sale, and we send a lot of notices to keep it from that point, from going to that point. When the tax sale owner, or when the original owner buys it back after it's been sold at tax sale, it's very expensive. So that's That's how the bidder makes their money. That's why it's worth it for them to bid on properties. A lot of times they may not even want the property. They may be pretty sure it's going to be redeemed. And then they'll get interest on their bid. And that's the way the state has set it up to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. And I had sent you a question about I know it's only $20, but recouping that cost. And you said that that would be covered by the fees that
Yes.
are also part of the redemption payment.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, there's no added cost to the taxpayer for using this contract.
Great. Excellent. Thank you so much, Ms. McClellan. Let's see if there is any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
And thank you, Ms. Dayton. With that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the agreement with Zeus Auction SRI?
Yes. Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
The contract for the auction is approved 3-0.
Great. And thank you again for working on this. It's a smart idea to protect our residents.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. All right, we'll move on to the next item, please.
Move to approve ratification of Crossroads Anti-Racism Organizing and Training. Fund name, Lit Special Purpose JDAI Programming. Fund number 1149/9145 in the amount of $6,000.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have Mr. Malone here, or maybe Ms. Purdy can discuss this item?
Oops. I cannot speak to this item. Yes. Let me find some information. Can we come back to it?
We can, unless maybe Mr. Cockrell can speak on this. I don't know if this is the contract he reviewed.
Well, I reviewed it when I looked at the packet. Essentially, this is a anti-racism organization training for the probation department. I think they were intending to do this training live, and given the COVID situation, this is for the digital version of that training.
Great. And so we're splitting the cost between two funds. And then we have, the fee has been reduced 25% for the multi-cohort discount, which is great. Do you have other information on the components of the training, Ms. Purdy?
I do not. I mean, I'm signed up to attend, but beyond that, I don't have anything else. So let me see if I can't reach Ms. Tavener or Mr. Malone and get you guys more information.
There's someone from the Youth Services Monroe County with their hand up in the attendees.
I bet they can.
There we go. Yeah. We may have it.
That would be great.
Hold on. Oh, hold on. Let me start video. They just called me. Okay.
Great. Good.
I don't
like a surprise zoom in.
I don't think they made me a part of the panel accidentally. I apologize. I had my hand raised. So this is, we were going to have this training, Jeff was absolutely right, in April as kind of a kickoff event for close to 100 people to go through a primer on systemic racism, start a conversation, and hopefully having a longer training. It's a multi-day training with Crossroads, or we also look at the People's Institute. We went to Crossroads because they focus more on organizational building and policy stuff. This is a tie-in with JDAI, the Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative, racial equity and inclusion work. So we've been working on this since, I think, early 2019, and then COVID-19 threw us for a loop. So instead of being here for a couple of days, going over this work with people who have been doing this for decades, we are looking at doing this now virtually in 4 cohorts of 25 people, so training 100 people as an introduction to systemic racism. Each one's about 2 days long, and it's the beginning of a conversation.
It is not, people are not going to walk out anti-racist or ready to go, but it's a good way to start having a conversation, which I think, quite frankly, we were planning this for April because we've been doing a lot of work in this arena for a while. But obviously all the current events have really made this topic blow up. So I think it is something that a lot of people will want to engage in, and we're happy to be a part of that conversation. So we are hoping this can be ratified. The first cohort begins at the end of the month. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you for being patient with us, Mr. Malone. We appreciate it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It happens, you know. Excellent. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yes, the packet, I kind of got the impression from the packet that this is actually for the citizens of the community, not necessarily just for county employees.
That is correct. While we do offer some trainings, generally for county government, and we've done implicit bias training, things like that. This is specifically an opportunity to have to begin a community conversation on systemic racism, a further community conversation on systemic racism. And because one of the 4 core roles of your Youth Services Bureau, we are owned by everybody in Monroe County, is community education. And so we want to make sure that we are bringing this out. And it's about, 5 months after we were hoping to have this conversation, but we're happy that Crossroads was able to get something put together digitally for us to start having this now. So yes, this is for the community. There will be people from the county there, but it is for the community at large.
Very good. That's a wonderful service to be offering. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a good start anyway, right? It's the 100 is a good start. Yep.
Yeah,
good point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Commissioner Giffen?
So if somebody wants to participate, how do they sign up?
Well, the postings are out there now that you can look at our website. You can the Building a Thriving Compassionate Community website. So there are a few things, and I can make sure we get that attached we can send that out to maybe the commissioner's office, and that can be a part of any sort of publication or minutes that are included. I'm not sure if that's a possibility, but I can make sure that happens. We do have another cohort coming up in October. We did have a full house plus a waiting list signed up for April. So I'll have to check with Stephanie Solomon, our prevention coordinator, to see exactly how many spots are available right now. But I believe there are some available, and we will get all those out there for you to publicize.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. That's excellent. Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm signed up for next week. I'm very excited about it. It's very good. So, and it looks like you're speaking from one of those beautifully remodeled offices
Yes.
at the Youth Service Bureau.
Yeah, that's correct. This is my office. We are very happy that unfortunately county buildings remain closed for the most part, but eventually we'll be able to walk everybody in here to see not just kind of where obviously our residents live in Binkley House that was also remodeled, which is fantastic, but the new training spaces that we have, classrooms that are available, and a large kind of multi-purpose room that the kids can use as a gym when it's not in use for large meetings otherwise. We were hoping to kind of have this event to kick all that off, but COVID-19 had other plans. 2020 has been quite a year. So we were gonna, so hopefully when the building's open, we will welcome, we'll have another event that the community will be able to come in and see.
Right, excellent. Thank you, Mr. Malone. And with that, we'll see if there is any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Right, excellent. And I would just ask Mr. Malone if you would just look to see where you do have any openings for the trainings into October, et cetera. Just, let us know that, keep us posted once those things close as well, and we'll get it out on our website.
I will absolutely do that. I talked to Stephanie in about half an hour, so I'll make sure you have something by lunch.
Great, thank you, appreciate you. With that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the ratification of the Crossroads Anti-Racism Organizing and Training?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Contract is approved 3-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Next item, please.
Move to approve Family Social Services Administration for Incarcerated Offenders Providers Agreement. The fund name, fund number, and amount are all to be decided.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Commander Crowe.
Good morning, all of you.
Morning.
With the FSSA agreement, this would be for inpatient services for inmates under what's called presumptive eligibility. Anybody that is taken to the hospital, admitted, we can start an enrollment process with those inmates while they're at the hospital, and they'll get the Medicare rate. I believe the FSSA pays for it, and then we reimburse every quarter. And again, this is just for inpatient services. Fortunately, knock on wood, we haven't had a lot of inpatient services this year. And another thing to consider with this agreement is our current medical provider, Advanced Correctional Healthcare. They work out agreements with the hospitals, the local hospitals. So we generally get that Medicare rate for our inmates, no matter whether it's inpatient or outpatient. So that's a good service for us as well, included with our healthcare agreement. As far as the healthcare navigation for the inmates, we've been doing this since 2016, where we will begin the healthcare sign up, I guess, for inmates while they're incarcerated. We look at inmates that have been in custody longer than 30 days or minimum 30 days, and then we will help them with the process of signing up for insurance. Again, this is just the beginning application. So when they get out of jail, they have to follow through with the rest of the application so they can actually get the insurance. We were using a company called Aspen. We have recently switched to another local agency, and I think we might get better services, especially for the inmates when they get out of custody, because it is a local organization and they can go here in Monroe County or close by to go ahead and complete that application process. And I'll give you some of the numbers that we have for the healthcare navigation. Since 2016, we have offered this service to 2,575 inmates. So far in 2020, we have had 363 inmates get the opportunity. But with healthcare, excuse me, with the COVID, we haven't been able to sign as many people up as we had in the past. So we're down a few hundred people of what we would normally have. And a little idea of that, in 2019, we were able to do about 711 inmates. So we try to do that on a weekly basis. Again, with the COVID, we haven't been able to keep up with that just because of no one allowed in the jail, trying to keep our inmate population safe. We are using other technology right now. And in fact, we just had a session yesterday where they went through and offered it to about 35 people. So that's something that we're proud to keep up with.
Right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Commander Crowe. Commissioner Jones, do you have any questions?
No, I just want to say thank you for signing up as many people as you can for Medicaid. That is definitely a very appreciated effort on your part.
Great.
Commissioner Githens?
I was also pleased to see that you're helping them file forms with Social Security. And I assume this is to get either supplemental security income or Social Security disability income. But I know that that's a really, really complicated process. So that for people who are truly disabled, it can be just impossible, basically, for them to do. So is there any follow-up done by whatever company you're working with to help them navigate all that's done through the Social Security Administration?
That's one of the reasons that we switched recently, is to get better follow-up. We went with Kids and Families South Central Community Action Plan, which was a local organization here, and I think they've had a little bit of division. Something's happened, but but it's still going to be more localized than what we were using before. So I think there's a better chance that when the inmates get out of jail, they'll be able to follow up and actually get everything they need to get to sign up and have the insurance. You know, once we just start the application process for them here, we don't actually get them signed up. That's something that they have to do on their own when they get released.
Okay.
I just know from working with so many people in the disability community that basically every single one who's applied for support through SSA, that everybody has to go up on appeal, and it can take a couple of years.
And
So.
This was just brought up to me. This isn't for disability insurance. This is just for like the Healthy Indiana Plan, the HIP 2.0. Social Security stuff is totally different than this.
Right, but it just says that it says for those who are aged or disabled, screen for other forms of public assistance and submit applications, including initiating an application to the Social Security Administration for people who are eligible to receive coverage as aged or disabled.
Yeah, and they may go through that screening process with them. I've not sat through the screening process, but I know that they get a lot more help than they would if we didn't offer this service.
Right.
That's important.
Right. Absolutely. I like that you're using a local agency as well. It's a smart idea. And with that, is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
So thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the agreement, Family Social Services Administration for Incarcerated Offenders Providers?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
The agreement is approved 3-0.
All right, thank you. Thank you again, Commander Crowe, and thank you, Mr. Cockrell, for calling the roll.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Move to approve Fleming Interior Group Agreement, Fund Name 2017 GO Bond, Fund Number 4811, in the amount of $33,221.25.
Second.
Great, we have a motion and we have a second. Now, Ms. Purdy, I'm sure you could talk about this one.
Can talk about this one. This particular item is for the outfitting of our new public works facility. Public works facility, and actually more so because that's more a barn for the storage of expensive equipment. But this is actually for the EOC, our weights and measures, excuse me, and it's going to provide them with a much needed and appropriate space for addressing emergency situations and allowing for the number of people who may need to get together in a room, if we ever get allowed to do that really on a regular basis anymore, but we will have that. And it also provides for a place for our weights and measures employee, and provides a secure garage for his rather large truck that has all of the equipment on it to facilitate the weighing and measuring of our various scales in our county. So I think that our staff is very excited about this. And I think that you guys will really like it when you get to see the final colors and everything that's been picked out. And Allison and I, we had such fun because I saw, just to kind of deviate a little bit, I saw some of the colors that were chosen. I was like, oh. So I said, hey, can we talk about this? So Allison and I met out, and then this one color that I thought was definitely not going to happen. It was like, okay, yeah, no, I can see that. That's going to be awesome. So Allison really, I think, appreciated that, and appreciated that I was able to go, oh yeah, that really is lovely, as opposed to my initial response, which was, oh. So yeah, that's what this is.
So this is all of the new furniture, and Ms. Moore is back on. Do you have anything to add?
No, they've been a wonderful company to work with. They helped and guided us. We were able to look at other emergency operations centers across the state to bring in additional resources and things that we needed to update our emergency operations center. So though we're getting a new office and we're moving things, we also enhancing our emergency operations center so that it would be well equipped, and the things that we have in this proposal will then, of course, help that in return. So.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. Any comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
I'm looking forward to seeing this when we get a chance, and congratulations on your new home.
Thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
I just wanted to point out that part of the reason that this move is taking place is that the current emergency operations center is not ADA compliant. And so part of this move is to make sure that these offices are accessible for people.
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much. Any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. With that, Mr. Cocker, will you please call the roll on the agreement with Fleming Interior Group?
Yes. Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Agreement is approved 3-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Move to approve PEI maintenance and contracting agreement. Fund name to be decided, fund number to be decided, in the amount of $35,438.75.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Ridge.
Good morning again. So we are required to have our gasoline, diesel stations inspected every year. So this year, all 3 lines failed, which means that there could be a leak and that the conduit needs to be replaced. So we did get 2 quotes for the services. We worked with PEI over the years. And the other quote that we received actually satisfies that this definitely does need to be done. It was the same outcome, but PEI was quite a bit cheaper than the other quote. So this is actually scheduled to be done the week of August 24th, which is Monday. Our fleet maintenance coordinator has made arrangements. The pumps will be down. We're going to say 2 weeks. They say, 10 days. We're going for 2 weeks. We will get the word out to the different departments that have county vehicles. We've made arrangements where they will be fueling, and where our diesel trucks will be getting diesel fuel during that time. We know it's an issue for people and an inconvenience, but we don't have a choice on this. The reason why it says the fund is to be determined is because we did reach out to the commissioner's office and Angie to maybe assist in the cost of this. The reason is because we have our budget and we do have a line for like a repair building or something, but we just did that and paid $25,000 to fix the air conditioner that went out. So the building was built in 1996. So we're starting to see some of the, the repairs that are necessary. So, so that's where we're at, but this is definitely has to be something that needs to be completed.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Ms. Ridge. Did you want to add anything, Ms. Purdy?
No, just other than I'm certain that we can assist the highway department and make sure that this gets taken care of.
Absolutely. And 2 week downtime is a lot, but it's not unheard of, and it's absolutely necessary this gets done soon. I'm glad they're looking at it, getting it done quickly, because that's an environmental issue, obviously.
Definitely.
Yeah, even though Ms. Ridge has stepped off camera, I'm going to see if anybody has any questions. Oh, there she is. Darn it. I was going to see if anybody had any questions for your empty seat. Commissioner Jones, questions or comments?
Glad it's being taken care of.
Yeah.
Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, no, when I heard that there was a problem, I was really tickled to know that you jumped right on it and you're getting it taken care of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, she's right on it. Excellent. And is there any public comment on this item, please?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the PEI maintenance and contracting agreement?
Yes. Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve ordinance 2020-34, amending various ordinances.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Ridge.
Okay, so the first item is to amend 86-09, which is an addition of a speed limit of 20 mile per hour on Indian Valley Drive and Rose Creek Drive. We also have amending 8609 by a speed limit of for 30 mile per hour for Keller Crossing. And then that is a new road that was just completed through our redevelopment commission. It should be opening in the next week or so over on the west side that connects Hart Strait Road to Daniels Way. The ordinance 8606, which is stop signs, by the addition of the following stop signs is Wellness Way for Hart Strait Road, Keller Crossing for Wellness Way, Knapp Road for Keller Crossing, and Keller Crossing for Daniels Way. Ordinance 86-11 has an addition. This is no parking restrictions, and this will be for Ord Road. It's the west side of Ord Road from Rogers Quarry entrance to about 1,400 feet south of the entrance. The reason for that is we have completed some work on there, some shoulder work, some drainage work, replaced a culvert, and we find that a lot of the dump trucks are pulling over to the side of the shoulder, dumping what they have left over in their beds or doing things to their truck beds. So we have restricted the no parking in that area to keep that our shoulder work that we did in good shape. Also, we are amending ordinance 89-01 by the addition of the following no trucks, and that is going to be for Knapp Road. So they don't get any additional truck traffic due to the width of that existing road. All of these items were approved at the Traffic Commission meeting in July, and they all are warranted by the MUTCD manual.
Thank you, Ms. Ridge. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner Giffens?
No.
Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. With that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on ordinance 2020-34?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
Ordinance is approved, 3-0.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve NDOT for project coordination for Sample Road Phase 1. Fund name, local road and street, fund number 1169 in the amount of $5,506,400.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Ridge.
So this is for project coordination with NDOT. It's a federally funded project. Phase 1 goes from I-69 State Road 37 to Old 37 North. That is considered phase 1. All the right-of-way has been purchased for that segment of the project. We will begin all the utility relocations. Right now it has a letting of date of January of 2021 for a construction year of 2021. So this is an 80-20 project. So the county portion at this time would be $1,101,280,000.
Right, and that's the coming from local road and street.
Mm-hmm.
That's the amount. Okay, excellent. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner Giffens?
I just wondered what the length of the road is that's being upgraded here.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
I can tell you it's long.
The length of that road segment.
Right, it's long and hilly.
It's long and winding and curvy.
Very winding, yes. It's beautiful.
A lot of hills. I'm going to say at least a couple miles long for that segment of roadway. 2 to 3 miles would be my guess. I can get those.
No. You know, when I read these huge numbers, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, does that take care of 100 miles of road? I know it doesn't, you know. But...
No, absolutely it doesn't. But I was just thinking that why didn't I put that on my form before we said that? So it'll be on my form next time.
I'm sorry I didn't email you that to ask you. I Yeah, because on the other one, you actually give the distance.
I know,
Yeah.
that's why it was in my mind that, why didn't I put the length of that road? Somebody wants to know how much road we're replacing, so.
Yeah.
For thought
And
for the
it's-
next one.
And this is going to be a huge improvement in terms of line of sight and traveling. It's, you know, it's part of the road I use to get to I-69 if I ever have to go there, which isn't much lately. But it can be treacherous if it's raining, if it's dark and people don't know their way. It needs some work. And so I'm glad it's getting done.
Yeah, it's a great project, and it will improve the drainage. We'll replace all the pipes. Like I said, we didn't really have any issues for right of way. So I feel like when you don't have issues for right of way, that people in that area want the road upgraded to and fill the need. So.
Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you so much. Ms. Dayton, is there anyone raising their hand for public comment?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. With that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the agreement with INDOT for project coordination for Sample Road Phase 1?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
Agreement is approved, 3-0.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve Butler, Fairman, and Seifert, Inc. agreement. Fund name, local road and street, fund number 1169, in the amount of $1,145,000.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Ridge.
Thank you. So this agreement is for construction inspection services. So it's basically overseeing the project while it's being built. This is actually for both segments of Sample Road. So the west side and then the east side that you just approved. There'll be a separate contract for the NDOT part on the west side that'll come forth in the next couple months. But this is an 80-20 split also. So the county portion is $229,000. It's split between, like I said, phase 1 and phase 2. So that's why the contract is so large for construction inspection, because it actually is putting two segments together. So it's actually maybe a 60-40 split. 65-35 between the two segments of what would be the services provided.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner Giffens?
No. It's all very detailed.
And thanks to Chevy for joining us.
Why I don't do Zoom meetings at home, but they get tired of hearing me in the office too.
It's excellent. Ms. Dayton, is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on approving the agreement with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert on this phase 1 Sample Road?
Yes, so Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Ridge. Thank you, Mr. Cockrell. With that, we don't have any appointments today. We do have some announcements. We do encourage anyone who's interested in serving on a board or commission to go ahead and apply at co.monroe.in.us. Just enter board and commission or application and you'll find it. We will have a number of appointments upcoming for 2021. It's hard to imagine, but we are getting to that point where we're going to be working on that. The county buildings are open by appointment only. Please contact the department you wish to visit. If you do not have face covering, we will provide it for you. We're just doing this to protect the community and protect Monroe County employees who are doing a fabulous job under very unusual circumstances and have done so they've always done a great job, but their dedication to public service is evident during the time of COVID. As noted by Ms. Moore, face coverings are available to the public for free at a number of locations. Visit the emergency management website or webpage on the county's website. Also, the fabulous Dina DeLauder-Myers is from our office is handing out face masks and face shields for free at the north door of the courthouse. She's extended her hours a bit, 8 to 4. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, north door of the courthouse. Just drop by. She also has some of the decals for the doors for requiring masks to enter buildings, businesses, or social service agencies. The county is making CARES funding available directly to county businesses and social service organizations, the whole county. And this is to reimburse these entities for non-payroll expenses that can be attributed to the pandemic. These expenses may not have been previously covered, for example, by a PPP loan or a city loan or a county grant, but please visit co.monroe.in.us. Right on our homepage, you will see all the information you need. We have a phone number to call if you have questions and the form to fill out. We are moving forward on these applications as we receive them. And as Ms. Caldwell noted, there is also on our website a complaint form for a business or organization that is not following the health order regulations regarding in place for businesses or for social distancing, gathering sizes, et cetera. Please use that form. It is not for individuals reporting individuals who are not following the guidelines. It is for larger entities who are not following the guidelines, and they will follow up as we have seen. There's also a form on our website to apply for an exemption to the social gathering size, and you can go ahead and file that online as well. And of course, residents of the county are invited to sign up for the resident alert system. Look for the megaphone on the county homepage and sign up. Not only will you receive immediate notice of severe weather alerts, or as we head into winter, I can't imagine winter right now, but as we head into winter, county road status updates if there's closures or travel advisories. But even more importantly right now, you will receive an alert that a new health order has been issued. So that's the best way to stay in touch. You can choose text or email and provide that information. With the end of the moratorium on evictions and utility disconnections and the molasses in January moving uphill slow work at the federal government to try to help folks who are suffering from the economic impacts of COVID on their lives, we have worked with the county council to provide some assistance to township trustees. Now, those township trustees, every county resident has a township trustee, whether you live in the city or outside the city. Every county resident has a township trustee. If you are struggling or you think you may soon be struggling with shelter, utilities, the basic necessities, we are here to help, they're here to help. So please contact your trustee and they will work with you. They have a number of funding mechanisms, but what we've done with the county council is ensured that there is sufficient funding. They didn't budget for a pandemic, none of us did. But that this will ensure that they are ready to provide assistance for those residents who are suffering COVID-related losses. And again, a big thank you to the community for wearing your face coverings in public. It is a sign of caring and concern. You're demonstrating that you respect and care every member of our community, and that we want to keep our businesses vital. So that they survive the pandemic as we do, and we can have a vibrant economy once it's over. Anything anybody would like to add? Commissioner Jones?
Yep.
Commissioner Githens?
In addition to help that's available through the township trustees, I've seen that both Shalom and New Hope have money that they can provide to folks to help with some of those rent assistance things also. So I hope people stay safe during this time.
Absolutely. And you know, township trustees are such a great resource, and people don't think about them until there's a problem, there's an issue, a pandemic, an emergency, or something happens to them personally. And our township trustees do a magnificent job of understanding and knowing every available bit of funding that's out there. And then they can work with all of those agencies and with the resident to ensure that they maintain shelter, utilities, food, and the basic necessities of life to get them through the crisis, whatever it may be. All right, well, with that, seeing nothing else, we are adjourned. Our next meeting is August 26th at 10 a.m. right here on Zoom. Thanks everyone for being here. Be well.